Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me at the table. I'm Thomas Dodderwick, and this week I find myself once again on location in Billings at St. Patrick's Co-Cathedral. This week I'm sitting down with the newest Chancery Team Member, Jessica Brown, the Coordinator of Youth, Young Adult, and Family Ministry for the Diocese of Great Falls-Billings. Jessica, thanks for joining me.
It is good to be here, Thomas.
Tell us just a little bit about yourself. I know you had a chance to introduce yourself at the Parish Leadership Day.
I did.
But not everybody was there, and so just tell us a little bit about who you are and a little bit about your background.
I moved into this position a month ago, and I came from St. Thomas here in Billings. I was the Youth Ministry Director and the Communications Liaison. I am currently getting my Master of Education in Interdisciplinary Studies from MSUB here in town.
What is it that the Coordinator of Youth, Young Adult, and Family Ministry does? It's a new position in the diocese, at least this time around. There may have been one in the past, but there's not been one for a number of years. What does this position do?
So I will help and support all of our parishes and our catechists and our religious education teachers for the youth, really especially on, at least for right now, with the 6th through 12th grade, really, helping them develop youth programs and just youth groups and that kind of thing. And then for young adults, I know one of the focuses, especially that the bishop wants, is campus ministry. Not that I'm going to run it at all, but that I'm just going to help get those people in place that can run it at the campuses, because we have not had anything. And that is a demographic that, tends to walk away from the church when they get to college. So it'll be, just helping find those resources and find those people to run the ministry and coordinate with parishes to help oversee and coordinate those programs. And then the family ministry is just helping out, helping parishes establish family nights and helping. I know one of the things that I'm going to do, because I still have my capstone project to finish next semester, is I am going to do an internship, and part of it is I'm going to do a proposal or a proposition paper. It's actually going to be a very short paper. I don't know if you know what a proposition paper is. I didn't either until my professor told me. And so a proposition paper is, I will do an annotated bibliography, and I'm going to look at 10 different articles and research that people have done, and then I will review them, and then I will come up with a proposition for this is the best way forward for doing family catechesis.
Why is family catechesis, why is that model important, especially right now in the history of the church?
I think it's just, the domestic church is, obviously that is where families are, and that's where faith formation is getting formed. And when I did my annotated bibliography last semester, one of the things that I found was, at one point we had a Master of Religious Education that was offered through the University of Loyola. And at first, just the clergy was the ones who were going and getting it, and then they opened it up to the laity. And then at some point, it was just very shortly lived. And then all of the clergy went from working in schools to they started working in parishes. And from what I kind of found in doing all that research was, there was like this shift from a lot of people going to, parochial schools, and then everyone going to public schools, which isn't bad. People will do what they want. They can. And, but when they did that, as the really highly educated, in terms of teaching religious education and teaching catechesis, as those clergy moved into the parishes, they switched the model of how they were teaching religious education. And so there was a lot of changes that happened. And so now people are trying to figure out how to adjust from those changes that happened. And so there's a lot of different suggestions out there for how to make up for the lack of faith formation that has happened. And the family catechesis model is just one of them that is out there.
So let's speak just a little bit. That's some of the family ministry that you're kind of evaluating as you step into this role. Really hot topic for most people, of course, is youth ministry. They think that that's how we fix some of the challenges that we're facing. What is it that the youth ministry people in our diocese can expect in the coming year or 2 years as you start to develop support for youth ministers?
Well, we do have the Diocesan Youth event, which will be in Lewistown on March 16th and 17th, and is for high school students. And so we will have a keynote speaker that'll come in from out of town. We're going to have adoration and priests and confession, and the youth are really planning, they're taking ownership of it, and we are guiding them because most people don't know how to put on an event. So we're guiding them on how to build, a very large youth-centered event. And so we're planning it slowly but surely. We're building the blocks. And so they're going to have breakout sessions, and they're going to have games, and cornhole is one of the things that they suggested in the last meeting that we had, that was what they wanted to play. And so we're working on that, but it's going to be on saints and sacraments. That was what they decided. And so we have 3 saints, and we have the 3 sacraments that the kids really, they said, we don't understand about this, or we want to connect more with these sacraments. And so that is where where the focus is. And that's why the breakout sessions will specifically talk about those things.
Sure.
Just that's what they're after. And I would like, eventually I would like to have like a leadership board of youth, to where we meet in the summer. We don't have to meet in all these Zoom meetings across the diocese, but we can meet in the summer. We get it all lined out in 1 week, and then, and then we move on into all the more of the logistic stuff. But we get the majority of the planning out. And I don't think that'll happen next summer. I mean, I've been told I'm a little enthusiastic, and I kind of need to reel it in. But I do think that's something that maybe a few years down the line that we could have a summer, a week-long summer. I keep calling it a leadership camp or a leadership board, or I'm working on different names. But I would like to see that and have it be something that when they go to college, they can, or they go into the military, they can say, hey, look, I did this. I have these skills. I know how to do these things. And they transfer into life skills.
Yeah. It's not just about the faith, it's about the whole person.
It's about the whole person. And it's what they can do, and understanding that church isn't just they go to mass on Sunday and then they walk out and, and then they go play sports, or they go to school, or they go to music class, or they do whatever it is that they do, but that their faith is something that they can work through and towards and with, and it is something that is encompassing in their whole life, and that they can do work, which is kind of what we're doing with the kids right now in the Diocesan Youth event. It is work. But you can work Catholic, or you can be a Catholic that works. I don't know how to say that. But you know what I'm saying? You don't have to have your Catholicness or your Catholicismness, whatever that term is. You don't have to have it be just relegated to Sundays, or when you go to youth group, or when you go to your adult faith formation, but you can have it be throughout your whole life, and you can do these things through the Catholic lens, through that kind of thing.
So then your other piece is the young adult, and you kind of touched a little bit on campus ministry, college campus ministry. Are there any other things that you are seeing that need addressed for ministering to young adults in the diocese?
We are possibly, this is going to be a lot of work for the group that I have organized to do this, but we are looking at possibly bringing in the young Catholic professionals. It is a nationwide group, and they have retreats, and they put on conferences, and it's a nationwide group, and they all do things with each other and across and in colleges, and then the outside of colleges. And it's for young families, that are just getting started, who are just getting started in their careers and all that kind of stuff. But it's a network. It's kind of like a networking group for young Catholics who are just entering the workforce, that if they want to surround themselves, even if the workforce isn't a Catholic space, they can find other Catholics that are working in those fields, that they can, I want to go work with them, or, I'm the only Catholic in my area. Can I find someone that can relate to what I'm doing in my job? And so that's what young Catholic professionals do. But we don't have a chapter here in the diocese. And actually, I don't think we have one in the state. But in order for us to bring a chapter here, we have to do a feasibility study. And that is going to take us about 5 months to look at, do we have enough people? Can we raise enough money? Can we, basically sustain a chapter?
Sure.
And
so that's really not necessarily for church workers. It's for Catholics in the work world outside of the church.
For outside of the church. In whatever field they happen to be in, it's just so they can connect with other Catholics in that same workforce.
And so as you start this journey, those are just a few things in each of those categories: family ministry, youth ministry, and young adult ministry. Where do you find your energy? How are you going to sustain that energy as you eat the elephant one bite at a time, if you will?
I've been asked that by other people because I tend to get a little bit ahead of, the cart before the horse. And I had someone give me some really good advice, was just focus on 3 things a year and dedicate all my energy into that. And that is going to be very, very hard for me to just dedicate to 3 things, because I'm more of like, hey, there's 40 things that I could do and I want to do. And I really think that's a good idea, and that's a good idea, and that's a good idea. And, oh, that's an even better idea. And I really like that idea too. And so they told me, 3 things, and get those accomplished and get those going, and then add 3 more things, and then slowly. And that is going to be a massive struggle for me, because that is not my personality at all. It's just not.
There are a lot of people out there in our rural parishes and even in our urban parishes that are in youth ministry, trying to figure out how to minister to young adults, how to reach families. You're clearly a resource that the diocese is offering forward to those people. Mm-hmm. How is it that they get in touch with you and communicate with you?
So the best way is email, and I will give everyone a heads up. If you approach me with a problem, I will research it to death, and then I will get back to you about it. I really do like, I will research something for 6 hours before I get back to you with whatever it is that I find. And that's just, answers aren't good enough for me. I will continue digging until I find what I feel is satisfactory. So the best way is probably email. Otherwise you will end up on a 2-hour phone call with me telling you all the things. So if you don't want that, email is definitely the best bet.
And so what's your email address? What's your phone number?
My email address is jbrown@diocesegfb.org. And then my cell phone number is 406-590-9772.
Jessica, thanks for taking time today to sit down and visit with me and introduce yourself to the people of God of Eastern Montana.
It was a pleasure to be here.